Hello everyone, I'm Vincent Robin and I'm going to present you some research we have done and that are still going on about the long-term history of the forest, so-called sandbomb forest in south of France, aiming to get insights about the resistance and resilience of a mature forest in the Mediterranean context. Indeed, in the degraded Mediterranean landscape, the temperate deciduous forest and even more the temperate mature deciduous forest can be described or can be seen as anomalies. Indeed, they appear as single and local spot of mature vegetation, while on the large scale, landscape scale, ecosystems are largely open or semi-open, pioneer, post-pioneer dominated vegetation types related to specific Mediterranean context, climate and human activities on long time scale. Therefore, there are many questions about the origin and the mechanism explaining the current presence, the surviving of the temperate deciduous mature forests. Are they really anomalies, or are they the results of specific site conditions, or are they the results of pristine forest states? And what are their role, their place in the long-term trajectories of ecosystems, of landscapes? Until today, what are their role, or what they could play as a role in the ongoing ecosystem landscape trajectories of the Mediterranean context? To gather some information or insights about that, we investigated the long-term history of the sandbomb forest south of France, as you can see here on the map, southeast of France, which is a fagus-dominated forest, or even more, it's a mixed temperate forest, mature forest with old growth forest with some conifer, few conifer, mainly Taxus baccata, but also a little bit of Abies alba, and then a large dominance of broadleaf trees such as Quercus deciduous, mainly Quercus pubescens, and mainly Fagus sylvatica, but also some Acer, Tilia, Sorbus, and so on. We observe locally deep and rich soil below the sandbomb forest, the deciduous forest. And also as a determinant, we observe the presence of a cliff with a very strong relief oriented north that permits probably, for sure actually, permits the presence of micro-mesoclimatic variabilities with, for instance, higher precipitation. Well, we are at 700 meter elevation also. Nevertheless, on the southern exposure, southern face of the cliff, which is a less marked relief, but going down, gentle slope going down, we observe a typical open or semi-open landscape, garrigue, garrigue in French, mattoral vegetation, which contrasts a lot today to the northern exposure of the cliff, which is so the temperate forest, temperate deciduous forest, the sandbomb forest. Also, we observe the very ancient presence of a monastery in the forest that give also to the forest since the 13th century holy statue to the forest. So according to those general observations, there are two main hypotheses explaining the surviving of the sandbomb forest and its specific character, specific parameter, in the Mediterranean context, so as a mature temperate forest. The first hypothesis is the role of long and ancient occupation, human occupation, from Roman times and Middle Age, that could explain the presence of beech in the forest and maintain it. The second hypothesis is that the presence of beach today is the remaining or the relictual part of a natural forest, beach forest that survive over a long time thanks to local biotic conditions. So to test this hypothesis, we use different type of approach indicators, such as the chronological patterns of the forest establishment and dynamic, the past forest composition, and the potential forest dynamic compared to the area surrounding the sandbomb forest. Therefore, we use soil charcoal analysis because this is one of the few phytohistorical data approach that provide information according ecosystem dynamic, mainly related to soil erosion evidences, and also to the past forest composition and disturbance specifically related to fire disturbance that are the remaining charcoal pieces in the soil. And we can also identify the species thanks to microscope taxonomical identification. And so we can also have some indication about the age thanks to radiocarbon dating. So we combine soil sampling and charcoal sampling in three different, let's say, sampling zones. An area north of the sandbomb forest, which we call the Northern Plateau, which is the sampling zone A. Then the sampling area, which is called B, which is the sandbomb forest itself, and then we have the last or third sampling area, which is the southern face of the sandbomb cliff, which is the sampling area C. So on these three areas, we have various number of soil sampling which have been done on soil pits open manually. Of course, we have more soil sampling in the forest sandbomb itself because this is the main focus of our research. And nevertheless, we have some sampling spots, so 2 on the North Plateau and 3 on the southern face of the sandbomb cliff. So those samples are only prospective sampling, but nevertheless, they provide some information that permit to interpret and to contextualize our result from the sandbomb forest. So first result is about the soil characterization that stress the presence of, in all the soil sample, the soil profile, the presence of colluvium layers, so meaning erosive evidences, accumulation and erosion processes that occur locally in the forest and on the plateau and on the southern face of the sandbomb cliff. Those colluvium layers which could be with various thickness, of course, depending on the topographical position, but also probably according to the catchment area and the intensity of the erosive event they are related to. So those colluvium layers are most of the time above in situ horizon that remains, which were not eroded, remains below, so the colluvium accumulation. It is very interesting to note that those colluvium layers are the richer soil layers compared to in situ soil horizon, are the richer in charcoal concentration. Each time we sampled and extract the charcoal concentration, we find a higher charcoal concentration in the colluvium. So this is a clear indication to showing that colluvium, so the erosive events, mechanism, accumulation of the material then, according catchment scale, is related to fire event. It's a post-fire erosive that produced the charcoal and embedded the charcoal in the soil and was accumulated in situ or at the catchment scale. So we have a clear signification, clear evidence for fire, post-fire erosion occurring at local scale into our soil charcoal. our soil sampling. Then looking at the soil charcoal, we observe here the taxonomical identification of the 20 soil samples we have done, 20 or the sample, sorry, from the 20 soil profile we have done at the study scale, and we observe that in percentage proportions per identified taxa, as you can see in the graph in front of you, and these results are expressed according taxonomical groups that are, we maintain Fagus and Deciduous quercus as a single taxa because they are our key species, let's say, in the results, but we then grouped some species. You have the grouped composition on the left here by pioneer, scrubland, and mesophilous vegetation. And what we observe that among the 18 taxa, we observe that into the forest sandbomb, so in the middle here of the graph, we have the most of the occurrences of the mesophilous, also including Fagus, mesophilous and Fagus species recorded here in the sandbomb forest, while we don't have any of them in the southern face of the sandbomb forest, and just a little on the plateau. Also, we observe that, a little bit in contrary, we have scrubland vegetation only in the southern face of the sandbomb and not any, or just a few little occurrences in the sandbomb forest and not on the plateau, while we observe that deciduous oak, Quercus, probably Quercus pubescens, is present in all of the sites, even if in variable quantities, it is present in all of the sites, all profile on the three conditions: north sandbomb forest, northern plateau, sorry, sandbomb forest, and southern face. So these tend to support that those areas have got different vegetation trajectory, different ecosystem trajectories, mainly related or mainly indicated by the differences in vegetation dominance and vegetation type dominance. This is also some, we observe also some interesting results from the chronological patterns of the charcoal samples we can date, so single date of identified species by radiocarbon dates. And we observe that we have most of the radiocarbon dates occurring since over the last 2000 millennia, which is logical with the regional and even large-scale macroecological knowledge about human impact using fire history in Europe over the last 2 millennia since the Roman age and during the following cultural phases of human development. But what is very interesting, going back in the time, that we have a very ancient occurrence, you can see on the left, of Fagus, with older than 8,000 years ago. And we have also occurrences of deciduous oak about 4,000 years ago, that show clearly that, first of all, Fagus was very ancient on the site, much before the Roman age and the establishment of the monastery on site, and also for deciduous oaks. We also see that evergreen vegetation is present on the southern side, also much before the monastery establishment, but seems to be synchronous, at least the older dates, with the Roman age, which is quite logical according, again, regional knowledge. So if we sum up our results, we observe that probably we have into the sandbomb forest compared to the northern plateau some differences. We have in the northern plateau in the past a mixed deciduous evergreen woodland that is today evergreen woodland. In the southern face of the sandbomb, we have got today scrubland, and in the past it was probably mixed oak woodland with scrublands, so a semi-open forest that changed to a scrubland today. And while in the forest, we have over millennial scale the presence of a mixed deciduous woodland with Fagus and Quercus deciduous present since several millennia and remains present today. This is quite, as I mentioned, coherent and logical according regional knowledge about different species, mainly Fagus presence. But nevertheless, the sandbomb forest is one of the older occurrence in the sandbomb forest when you see here the few presents we have older than 7,000 years ago at regional scale. So this is probably, to conclude, the indication that the temperate mixed sandbomb forest dominated today by Fagus is an anomaly that is established much before the establishment of the monastery and even before the Roman time, since this is the direct remaining forest state of post-glacial relictual forest thanks to local abiotic factor, probably the cliff, but not only, since we also observe into the forest area a significant amount of charcoal that results in part, at least partly, of pioneer vegetation. And also we see into the forest area the presence of erosive process of colluvial accumulation. Both are the indication of fire event plus soil erosion, so post-fire erosion. So those are local forest disturbances. So let's say intra-woodland disturbances, which appear to be not strong enough and large enough to induce changes in the forest trajectory, not at least significant changes. Probably because the human protection due to the presence of the monastery and the holy statute of the forest limited the forest opening into the forest, while it was probably different in the surrounding of the forest. First of all, the vegetation, the initial vegetation was probably never exactly the same than in the forest, because the forest is under the influence of the cliff, which is not the case, of course, of the southern slope of the cliff and of the plateau north of the cliff. But also probably those areas were more impacted by disturbances and were more have got their trajectory more influenced by human impact. So therefore, we can conclude that the ecological trajectory of the sandbomb forest, of the mature sandbomb forest, temperate forest, shown a significant resilience and resistance with disturbances, but that never came back strong enough to change the trajectory, to change significantly the trajectory, while for the surrounding areas, we have observed a weak resistance and resilience. Therefore, we can see that today, as an heritage, the knowledge herited from this observation, we can say that the Mediterranean mature forest made today have strong resistance and high resilience, depending nevertheless on anthropogenic and physical parameters at local scale. So this is an interesting information in terms of nowadays conservation issues for landscape in the Mediterranean context that are below important stress, climatic and human usage stress, in terms of forest trajectories, forest conservation. Mature forest development is possible, but this is strongly related to local parameters, both abiotic and biotic parameters. Thank you for your attention.